الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وآله وأصحابه أجمعين. فقد قال جل وعلا في كتابه المجيد وفرقان الحميد بعد أن أقول أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أفلا يتدبرون القرآن أم على قلوب أقفالها إن الذين ارتدوا على أدبارهم من بعد ما تبين لهم الهدى الشيطان سول لهم وأملى لهم صدق الله العظيم. وقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم خيركم من تعلم القرآن وعلمه أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. Honorable elders, respected brothers, mothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala 1400 years ago, not only did He send down our beloved Habib Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam as mercy to mankind, but along with him He sent down the glorious and noble Quran. And the Quran and the life of our beloved messenger go hand in hand. The Quran is something which we take guidance from, and the life of Prophet Muhammad is the exemplar of the Quran, and his Sunnah is what we follow. Today's discussion is in regards to unlocking our hearts through the Quran. Many times we know the importance of the Quran, we know that we should recite it, and we know and we value it. But how many of us truly, sincerely seek guidance through it? In the opening verse which I recited before you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ أَمْ عَلَى قُلُوبٍ أَقْفَالُهَا. Allah mentions in Surah Muhammad that do they not reflect on the Quran, or are there locks upon their hearts? Do the individuals, does mankind, do they not reflect on the Quran, or are there locks placed upon their hearts? And then he goes on into the following verse to go on and mention, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ ارْتَدُّوا عَلَىٰ أَدْبَارِهِمْ مِنْ بَعْدِ مَا تَبَيَّنَ لَهُمُ الْهُدَى الشَّيْطَانُ سَوَّلَ لَهُمْ وَأَمْلَى لَهُمْ. Indeed, those who relapse back into disbelief after true guidance had become clear to them, It is shaitan that has tempted them, luring them with false hopes. It is these two verses that we will talk about inshallah today. In the first verse, when Allah mentions that, do they not reflect upon the Quran, or are there rocks placed upon their hearts? The first thing we realize from this verse is that the Quran was not revealed just for recitation. The Quran was revealed for recitation, but more so for tadabbur, reflection, understanding, comprehension, seeking guidance from the Quran. Many of us, we know the importance of the recitation of the Quran, and we give it its value, and we must recite. But along with that, the tadabbur is equally important. Number two, we realize that in the Quran, many people think that the Quran and understand the Quran is something to do with the intellect. Yes, from one perspective, it is. You do have aspects of the Quran which use your intellect to understand. But here Allah uses tadabbur, Quran, and qulub in the same verse, highlighting the importance of the Quran with our hearts. Highlighting the importance of the Quran with our hearts. The fundamental right of the Quran upon us is not just getting the knowledge of the Quran. Yes, it's very important to get the knowledge, but it's also the tadabbur, the reflection, contemplation. When was the last time we actually opened up the Quran and we opened up a verse and we literally just recited that verse and we just sat there reflecting? But what is Allah trying to tell me through this verse? What is Allah trying to make me aware of? When was the last time we were able to recite a verse and our faith, our connection with Allah increased? These are questions we must ask ourselves. Then the following thing, thinking about something is considered to be an intellectual exercise. But here when Allah mentions the Quran with qulub, Allah is highlighting the importance of the Quran being attached with our hearts, and the importance of our hearts being attached with the Quran. Now, for an individual to do tadabbur, there are a few prerequisites. Number one, before we can have true tadabbur, the first prerequisite is that we must remind ourselves that the Quran is perfect, but our ability to understand it is limited. All of us believe and accept that the Quran is perfect. And now knowing that the Quran is perfect, but our understanding of the Quran is limited. Hence you hear individuals say, and you have these, clips that on, throughout social media or on the internet or articles and this and that. Oh, this thing being disproven in the Quran, that thing. It's because those individuals have a limited understanding of what the Quran is trying to say. Or at times, individuals will take verses of the Quran and misinterpret those verses, or use it out of context, or not understand what Allah is trying to highlight in the above verses or the verse that come after, understanding the whole picture of the verse, but rather they take it out of context. Number two, the culture that we live in today is all about constant critique. Whether that's on Google reviews, Yelp, whether it's about restaurants, whether it's about places that you go, everything is all about critiquing. You go eat this food, give it a rating 3 out of 5. You go here, I rate this place 7 out of 10. Everything is all about critiquing. Yeah, the site was nice, but it was a little bit. Everything is about critiquing. And so, even though we understand that the Quran is perfect, but this notion of constant critiquing things has become subconscious to us. It's not that we do it consciously, it's become subconscious to us because of the society we live in. So when we have this mindset of constant critiquing, it does not allow for the true wisdom and gems of the Quran to enter our hearts. Hence, it is a prerequisite that we open our hearts. And when we try to do tadabbur, we approach the Quran with genuineness and sincerity. Moving forward, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the opening After Surah Al-Fatiha, the longest surah in the Quran, Surah Al-Baqarah and various other surahs, he begins the surah off by saying, Alif Lam Mim. In other surahs we have, Qaf, Yasin, Alif Lam Mim, Saad. Various surahs at the beginning, the first thing that's mentioned are these letters. These letters are known as the huruf al-muqatta'at. What is the purpose that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala placed these? First and foremost, Allah placed the huruf al-muqatta'at, but you and I don't know what the meaning of it is. Only Allah knows what the meaning of it is. So Allah, by placing this and telling us that you don't know what the meaning is, He is indicating and telling us that the Quran is perfect, number one. But number two, He is the Khaliq and we are the Makhluk. And being the servants of Allah, being insan that make mistakes, we do not understand and nor do we have all of the knowledge regarding the Quran. That's why we see understandings of the Quran. The gems that the Mufassirun are able to extract from the different verses, from the different surahs. Allah is telling us through these huruf al-muqatta'at that your understanding is limited. So there's a distinction that must be made between knowledge and guidance. Knowledge is something that an individual, from the time that they're born till the time that they die, they're constantly learning. Whether some learn at a rapid pace, some learn at a slower pace. But if you notice, from the time of when you were a baby till now, how much have you learned? When you were a baby, you didn't know anything. And now you know many, many different things. So knowledge is in constant increase. It's a line that's constantly linearly going up. But guidance, faith, guidance, connection with Allah, our relationship with the Quran, our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we notice that at times it's very strong. Especially, when individuals go for Hajj or Umrah, or, in Ramadan, because of the worship and the ibadah that they do, the connection and bond they feel with the Quran and with Allah, it's very high. But then as time goes, it's constantly, the way that it's up and down, right? It's in relation to how much we are pursuing the Quran, how much we are pursuing Allah, how much ibadah we are doing, how much knowledge we are seeking. That's what the guidance is. Knowledge it's a path that's forward, but guides our connection with Allah. So when we come to the Quran for guidance, understand that guidance is like water. It's not something that you take. It's not like money or like on your phone that you can just put in your pocket. I got guidance, boom, I put it in my pocket, I'm good. No, guidance is like water. Just as a human biologically needs water, it's not like he drank water when he was a baby and for the rest of his life he doesn't need water. He constantly needs water. He constantly needs water in his life. Similarly, our hearts, as Allah mentions in the verse, needs the guidance of the Quran repetitively. Not that I read the Quran once in my life and I know everything there is to know from the Quran. No. The purpose of the Quran is so that we can go back and do tadabbur and drink from the Quran. Meaning our souls drink from the Quran. The same way our bodies biologically drink the water physically, our souls need that water from the Quran. That's just an analogy to help us understand this point of how much our hearts truly need the Quran. Hence, when we look in Surah Al-Fatiha, every single raka'ah, we recite Surah Al-Fatiha. Hence, to the point that the Sahaba and the Prophet of Allah, they all recite Surah Al-Fatiha in every single salah. Why? In Surah Al-Fatiha, there is a verse in which Allah mentions and tells us to repetitively say, Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim. That, oh Allah, guide us to the straight path. Notice here, guide us. Guide us. Guidance is something we constantly need from Allah. Guidance is something we constantly need from Allah. And it's mentioned that when we want to talk to Allah, we stand up for salah. When we want to talk to Allah, we want to pour our hearts out to Allah, we stand up for salah. And when we want Allah to speak directly to us, we recite the Quran. We understand the Quran and we reflect over the Quran. To understand how great this Quran is, I don't need to share anything with you. One verse is just enough. One verse is just enough to highlight the importance of this Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, لو أنزلنا هذا القرآن على جبل لرأيته خاشعا متصدعا من خشية الله وتلك الأمثال نضربها للناس لعلهم يتفكرون. What does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tell us? He tells us, لو أنزلنا, that if we would have revealed this Quran على جبل, on a mountain, لرأيته خاشعا متصدعا من خشية الله, that if Allah were to reveal this Quran onto the mountains, you see how great and big these mountains are. Allah says that the mountains would crumble and turn into dust out of the fear of Allah. The weight of the Quran, the mountains would not be able to bear it. But Allah revealed this Quran onto the heart of our beloved Habib, Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The Quran is something we need to reflect on. And it's not something that we recite in Ramadan to Ramadan. Or when I was a kid, I went to the madrasa, I learned it, I went to Islamic school, I learned it, and that's it. It is something we must constantly come back to. Something that we must constantly reflect on. Even if it's one verse a day. Even if it's literally one verse every single day. But let us do it consistently. That's why in the hadith, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, what does he mention? He says, أَحَبُّ الْأَعْمَالِ إِلَى اللَّهِ وَأَدْوَمُهَا وَإِنْ قَلَّ. That the most beloved of actions to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are those أَحَبُّ الْأَعْمَالِ إِلَى اللَّهِ وَأَدْوَمُهَا وَإِنْ قَلَّ, are those actions which are consistent even if they may be small. So when we are doing tadabbur, let us even reflect over one verse every day. Let us recite one verse every day. Literally open the Quran, recite one verse, read the translation, and reflect over that. Even though you may think that's so small, that's so insignificant in your mind, but in the grand scheme of things, in the eyes of Allah, that is very, very great and noble. Many times, as individuals, again, this is not to diminish the importance of it. This is to just highlight the importance of something else. Many times we see individuals that get very caught up in the tajweed of the Quran, meaning the perfecting the pronunciation. They work on making sure that this letter, the ta or the jeen, is pronounced perfectly. And they go into the depths, which is very, very important. The maharij and the tajweed is very, very important. Do not misunderstand what I'm about to say. It is very important. But many times when we get so caught up into this, that we forget the core fundamental reason why the Quran was revealed. And the core fundamental reason why the Quran was revealed was so that you and I could reflect, learn, understand, and get closer to Allah. That is the purpose of the Quran. The Quran was not revealed just to be recited. It was revealed to be recited, but more so understood, reflected upon, so that we can get closer to Allah. That is the purpose of the Quran, is to show us what is the true path, what is the right path, and what we must refrain from. I share with you a few points and then bring the discussion to a close. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He revealed this Quran, He sent it down as guidance for us. That's why in the verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the verse in Surah Al-Baqarah, He mentioned, شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان إلى آخر الآية, the verse is long. And here He mentions that the month of Ramadan, we're not going to talk about that. The month of Ramadan is that month in which the Quran was revealed. أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس. This is the part that I want to highlight. هُدًى لِلنَّاسِ, that the Quran was sent as guidance for mankind. Many people misunderstand this verse and they think that the Quran was sent as a guide for us. No, Allah uses the words here. Quran was sent as guidance for us. What is the difference between a guide and guidance? A practical example. All of us have smartphones. In our smartphones, we have pre-installed maps, whether that may be Google Maps, Apple Maps, Waze, whatever it is. That app, that map is a guide. When you use it, you are now being guided. When you're using that app, you are now being guided. That map, when it's just sitting there, it's just a guide. The Quran was sent not just as a guide, in its literal sense, the Quran itself is guidance. Meaning, when you recite the Quran, you will be guided. When you do tadabbur of the Quran, you will be guided. When you learn and seek knowledge from the Quran, you will be guided. That's what the Quran is. It is guidance for you and I. And it is deep. And the thirst of our souls can only be quenched when we reflect and seek knowledge regarding the Quran. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us and grant us the true understanding and the importance of the Quran. And may He make us from the Ahlul Quran, those that love the Quran, those that recite the Quran, those that do tadabbur over the Quran, and those that constantly come back to and reflect over the Quran, even if it may be a verse. If you don't remember anything from this entire lecture, just remember this point, that every single day, let us try to recite one verse, read the translation, if you can read a commentary or understanding or a tafsir of it, recite the tafsir of it, and reflect over it. Literally, that's it. The one verse I shared with you today, لو أنزلنا هذا القرآن على جبل, if the Quran was revealed on the mountains, this one verse I shared with you today, that's more than enough. Reflect over that today. Tomorrow, reflect over another verse. The next day, over another verse. But let us be consistent with it. Not just Ramadan to Ramadan. Many of us, we open the Quran Ramadan to Ramadan. It is a sad reality, but let us try our best to be from those that are from the Ahlul Quran. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive us for our shortcomings, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us from the Ahlul Quran and those that are able to receive the guidance from the Quran. Ameen. Wa akhir da'wana alhamdulillah. May I ask you, brothers, before I continue, to kindly move forward as we have more brothers coming in, so kindly fill in all of the rows in the gaps. Jazakumullah. We have this front row right here. Kindly move forward. Jazakumullah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you abundantly. Ameen. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruhu wa nu'minu bihi wa natawakkalu alayhi. Wa na'udhu billahi min shururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina. من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسله بالحق بشيرا ونذيرا بين يدي الساعة من يطع الله ورسوله فقد رشد ومن يعصهما فإنه لا يضر إلا نفسه ولا يضر الله شيئا أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد عبدك ورسولك وصل على المؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات وبارك على محمد وأزواجه وذريته قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أرحم أمتي بأمة أبو بكر وأشدهم في أمر الله عمر وأصدقهم حياء عثمان وقضاهم علي وفاطمة سيدة نساء أهل الجنة والحسن والحسين سيدا شباب أهل الجنة وحمزة أسد الله وأسد رسوله رضوان الله تعالى عليهم أجمعين اللهم اغفر للعباس ولده مغفرة ظاهرة وباطنة لا تغادر ذنبا الله في أصحابي لا تتخذوهم غرضا من بعدي فمن أحبهم فبحبي أحبهم ومن أبغضهم فببغضي أبغضهم وخير أمتي قرني ثم الذين يلونهم ثم الذين يلونهم اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين اللهم انصر الإسلام والمسلمين في كل مكان واغفر اللهم لجميع المؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين والحمد لله رب العالمين أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. اذكروا الله يذكركم وادعوه يستجب لكم ولذكر الله تعالى أعلى وأولى وأعز وأجل وأتم وأهم وأكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون. أقم الصلاة. Before the Iqamah begins, I would like to just ask the brothers after the Salah if you could stay seated for 2 minutes. We have Brother Ibrahim that would like to share something. So inshallah, just be seated for maybe a minute and a half. No longer than inshallah, you can go inshallah. Jazakumullah.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
So please make sure all of the rows are filled in. There are no gaps left between two individuals, and all cell phones are switched off. Jazakumullah. Allahu Akbar. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين لو أنزلنا هذا القرآن على جبل لرأيته خاشعا متصدعا من خشية الله وتلك الأمثال نضربها للناس لعلهم يتفكرون. هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو عالم الغيب والشهادة هو الرحمن الرحيم. هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الملك القدوس السلام المؤمن المهيمن العزيز الجبار المتكبر سبحان الله عما يشركون. هو الله الخالق البارئ المصور له الأسماء الحسنى يسبح له ما في السماوات والأرض وهو العزيز الحكيم. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. هل أتاك حديث الغاشية وجوه يومئذ خاشعة عاملة ناصبة تصلى نارا حامية تسقى من عين آنية ليس لهم طعام إلا من ضريع لا يسمن ولا يغني من جوع وجوه يومئذ ناعمة لسعيها راضية في جنة عالية لا تسمع فيها لاغية فيها عين جارية فيها سرر مرفوعة وأكواب موضوعة ونمارق مصفوفة وزرابي مبثوثة أفلا ينظرون إلى الإبل كيف خلقت وإلى السماء كيف رفعت وإلى الجبال كيف نصبت وإلى الأرض كيف سطحت فذكر إنما أنت مذكر لست عليهم بمسيطر إلا من تولى وكفر فيعذبه الله العذاب الأكبر إن إلينا إيابهم ثم إن علينا حسابهم الله أكبر سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر السلام عليكم ورحمة الله السلام عليكم ورحمة الله
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد وبعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Alhamdulillah, I have a glad tidings for you today to share very, very good news. Alhamdulillah, that's why we want everybody, inshallah, if they can give me 2 minutes to share with you this beautiful good news and this beautiful Mubarak day, inshallah. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. After and going back and forth with the church that we're trying to negotiate, which cost $6 million, finally, they agreed to take $300,000 as a down payment. And this is from the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As you all know, people who the real estate, $300,000 is a down payment of $1 million house. But this is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is the barakah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He granted us this beautiful place. This place that we trying to accommodate and buy, it has everything under one roof. It has the biggest gym, it has a banquet hall, it has a daycare, it has everything. The hall for the musallis, it can fit almost 1,000 sisters and brothers in it. So it's a it's a beautiful place. And our vision is to have a small Islamic YMCA there, where we can even get the non-Muslims to come and have non-event there because of the Islamophobia of what you know. This is the legacy that we want to go with this thing. So alhamdulillah, this is a very good cause. And we have $210,000, alhamdulillah. We are missing $90,000 until Friday. Friday is a due date. And we cannot show any hesitation with the owners. Because if they know we cannot come with $1,800,000, they're not going to trust us to get the $6 million within a year. This is how much pressures we have. But there is videos, and I'm explaining to people how I'm going to get the $6 million. I'm not just going to go on tawakkul. I don't do that. There is a way, there is a plan that we have, inshallah. But today, I want to let you know, when the person dies, he wants to come back and do one thing. Only one thing. No jihad, not salat, not Quran. One thing he wants to do. Sadaqah. Why this is so important? What's so important about sadaqah? That's what we are here for. So Allah chose you today to be the spark of this community. Because there's a lot of people that I spoke to, they invite me this. Later on, when you have the church, you open it next Jumu'ah or 2 Jumu'ahs. Alhamdulillah, people see the church is easy when they donate. But you going to donate blindfolded, doesn't know anything about it, just putting your trust on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and on us. And this is what we ask from you. We are in need of $90,000. I know it seems big, but wallahi it's not big if you think about it. How much is it? Each person maybe have $10,000 that's sitting in the bank. You can give us a qard hasana. That's basically what it is. For 6 months, 3 months, 1 year. And then you get it back. I can mention 3 people who sit in here who give me $20,000 already. 3 people. And I'm not talking about older people. One of the youngsters, he gives us $20,000. Because he say, I'm not going to put it in the bank. I can give it to you. Because when we give it back to him, as if he give $10,000. And then if he give it back to us, this is what we want. I'm not looking for donation. I'm looking for immediate loan so I can give them for next Friday so we can move on from this place. And I tell you what I heard about this place. Inshallah, they are having a plan to do developing for this place. So even the medical, maybe after 2-3 years, they're going to take it down and then like what they're doing now. So even if the medical people not valuing us, after 2 years, maybe we don't have this place. You can't have a masjid under a rental place. It's only temporary. We need to move on, and Allah is making things easy for us. So I'm not going to talk. I'm not going to stand out, tell you, you know what to do. Go borrow money if you can. We just need it for 3 months, 6 months, or 1 year. From $1,000 to $90,000. Talk to the people who you know, help me out. Ibrahim, I know there's a person who, for example, in Thorncliffe, I've been trying to reach, which is the Iqbal owner. If you let me contact me with that person, as if you did the venue to get the money, because I know he's very, very generous person. I'm trying to reach him, but I don't know how. So they're trying to reach a lot of people. There's one car dealer in Lawrence, he's also promised. And there's also, we have brother Abdur-Rahman, Jawad, who also promised to give us. But we need the $90,000 just now. Later on, it's easy to get the money because we have time. We can do conferences, we can do everything. So inshallah, I don't want to make this long because I have to go to work. Please come and talk to me regarding this. We need a qard hasana alone. If you can make a donation, that's from you, but what we're looking for, we're looking at qard hasana, inshallah. May Allah reward you all. Jazakumullah khair. This is a good, very good news, inshallah, and we're going to do this together. Barakallahu feekum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.